right, welcome to another edition. This is show number 3 of the Joe Dorgan Show, and I'm so excited to have my good friend Cesar Soto. Who's How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. You know, I'm actually really honored to be on your show and stuff. You are a legend, man. You made a lot of great things happen for this city, and I've told you before, time and time again. You know what I mean? It's just
Likewise.
you're very much appreciated, and you're very much appreciated, and you've given a lot of opportunities to a lot of local bands that have become some of the biggest bands that you can think of. You know what I mean? Some of the local dudes back in the day, you gave them the opportunity and the stage and the platform to play, and now some of those bands are like some of the biggest bands around.
Oh, well,
So,
thank you.
and
Well,
I'm speaking of course, like at the drive-in and the Mars Volta and anything that those dudes have done. You know what I mean? It's just I've seen those guys on your stages time and time again, way back in the day, and it's an honor to be on your show.
those are good guys. So let's talk about you. You're in ministry. It's been what, 7 years?
6 years. I'm going
6
on.
years?
Yeah. So what I thought was going to be 2 weeks turned into 6 years now. So I'm very, very grateful for still holding that position, and I'm just grateful for the opportunities that have been there. And of course, you know, I don't want to sound too cliche, but I mean, it's been a struggle to get to this point in my later life, because you know, I consider me really getting my start. 6 years ago, I was 36. So that's a little late for a lot of people, but I'm just grateful that I got the opportunity and I'm still doing it. Just to be able to still play music and write and record music, that's a blessing in itself, because sometimes sometimes life gets the best of you, and a lot of people just quit. You know what I mean? A lot of people just quit because life takes over, and sometimes it takes over passion. But I'm glad to say that I'm very, very, very passionate about everything I do, from family to music, and it's my life, man. I live and breathe those things. So 6 years, yes, and there's
Well,
a
you
lot in
yeah,
between.
you've paid your dues. I mean, you're Fisting Razors, Years of Cold, right?
Yeah,
You've done a
when
lot of groups.
it really started. I've been playing from such a young age, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in a great part of town that had and still has a lot of artistic fire, and that's central part of town. I went to Crockett Elementary and to Austin High School, and I've always seen people from that area just flourish into these big individuals, whether they're in law, or if they're in medicine, or in the medical field, or art, or even music. You know what I mean? There's a certain passion about that area that I was very fortunate to grow up in. So I'm going off a little bit. I'm sorry, because I always have a lot to say, but
Oh no, that's great. And when did you decide you wanted it? When you were real young, you were like, I want to play guitar, or
yeah, you know what? The way it happened was my old. The cool thing is that back in the '80s, like, your values were different, and trust was different. So what I'm getting to is that I have a brother that's 10 years older than me. That was, in a big way, he was a father figure to me. You know what I mean? When I was born, my dad was 50 years old. You know what I mean? There definitely wasn't a disconnection, but there was a huge gap in. I'm glad that I learned old school values. How to treat people, how to speak with people. You know what I mean? And I think some of those values have kind of diminished. I'd like to say diminishing, but I see that more and more, that those old school values that are taught by parents that were born in the 20s, in the 30s, that those values have kind of, but getting into your question, it was, my brother was basically like another father figure. He used to take me everywhere. Like, his friends are 10, 11 years older than me, but I still see them, and they're like my brothers, and they're like my friends, because they took part in kind of raising me and molding me into this person that I am now. So the person that you see now is the person I've always been since I was a kid. From, a young age, I used to wake up, and I don't know how my parents would let my brother do this, but I would wake up. My dad had, back in the day, he had this business downtown. It was called Casa Sonido. It was like a home audio and car
Oh
audio.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back on Stanton Street. The exact address was 722 South Stanton, the corner of 6th and Stanton. But I spent a lot of my childhood just walking around downtown, because my dad would take us to work, and he'd say, hey, go ahead, go get some candy or go to the bakery next door, or just walk around. But anyhow, my brother, I would wake up, and my dad had this company van, and I would wake up with, like, anything from like Motley Crue to Iron Maiden to Zeppelin to Sabbath blaring in this van. And I'd open the van doors, and it was my brother and his friends, partying at McKelligan and Canyon. So I would wake up, and it's like, oh, cool. All right. Another hangout. So that became the norm, because my brother always wanted to take me everywhere. My brother, I love my brother. I love my entire family, but my brother, he really, he cared and still cares a lot for me and stuff. And he would just take me everywhere he wanted to go. And he introduced me to a lot of music, and to all the music that I know. My brother introduced me to that with a really killer record collection. He gave me my first classical guitar. He taught me how to tune it, and I just kind of did my own thing from there. And I started learning just by listening to stuff. I still don't know how to read music. I could tell you what a sharp and I could tell you if it's sharp or if it's flat, but I can't technically read music. I just kind of listen to it, and I kind of take my own approach to it. So, but that's how I started, my brother and his friends. And I still see a lot of those dudes till this day. And the cool thing is that they were my first audience when I was a kid, because when I got my first guitar, there was like a back in Central, like these apartments, these houses, these little apartments behind homes are very, very normal for that area and that time, for these houses that were built in the 20s. Right. So, as we would get older, we'd get our independence, and our parents would say, okay, cool, you can have the guest apartment in the back, just so you have a little bit of freedom. So my brother would have all these dudes over, partying, listen to music, and then they'd go, grab your guitar and grab your amp. So I would go up there and show them what I learned, and they were just like, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? So
did you play in a band in high school, like play high school parties or things like
yeah,
that, backyard?
that's where it started, man. Backyard parties, mainly like in the Lower Valley. Like the Lower Valley had the best backyard parties and bonfires and keggers. And so and one of my coworkers that I've known since I was about 13 or 14 years old, we worked together. We were in, my first original band. I was maybe about 15 or so. And I put a written ad up at the headstand.
The headstand.
Yeah.
Love that
And those
place.
bits of paper, if I'm not mistaken, it's still open, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Stan.
So that ad had little slits of paper that said, like, it listed all my influences and all our influences in the band. It said, we're looking for a bass player that could play such and such from such and such bands and interested in writing original music. And I think I put like 10 big slits in the paper with my name and number on there. And I went back a week later, and only one of those slits was missing. So I was kind of losing hope. I was like, I don't think we're ever going to find a bass player. And this dude from Jefferson High School calls, and it's my friend Turi that I work with, and we're still friends. But yeah, he called, and we've been friends ever since. So we started our first original band, and we used to do like backyard parties. I think we even did, we even played at a place called the Little Wheel on Dyer. That was like our first bar gig.
I don't remember that place. So I read on your Facebook page that one of your memorable shows was at the Attic in 1995, opening up for Morbid Angel. Which band was that when you were playing?
It was a band with I believe it was with CJ Olguin.
Because you got your CD back. I was like, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, actually, well, okay. So are you talking about the CD? Yeah, the CD. And I'm looking at that CD right here. I keep that CD on my recording desk because it inspires me. I'm actually looking at that CD right here. But this is a band called At the Gates, and we didn't open that show.
No.
But going back to playing first shows at real clubs were that was at the Attic back in
love
back
that
in
place.
oh yeah, back in the early 90s. And that's where I ended up meeting my other best friend Matt Lynch that plays with the Razors. But yeah, that's where I ended up playing my first like club show, which was cool because Ed's brother Danny Garcia, he would always go up on stage and tell me, dude, the highs on your amp are like screeching, they're too high. So my tone, and I was like, man, that's my guitar tone. But yeah, anyhow, yeah, the Attic way back in the day, early 90s, mid 90s, they used to sneak in.
Yeah, I just and Danny, he's in New York, right? He's
Yeah,
still involved with music.
I haven't kept in touch with him, but I know he does own like a coffee shop venue in New York City, which is great. I love that city. That's a awesome city. But yeah, that's where I got my start playing in local clubs. So it went from backyard to clubs.
Do you have a Club 101 story? A show you saw there, or any?
I have many Club 101 stories. And my first introduction to Club 101 was a good friend of mine invited me to Club 101, and it was always popping there, not only shows, but dance, like, so that was my first introduction, was going there on a Saturday night and walking in, and it was just packed and just full of people just having a good time dancing. And of course I just hang out at the bar. But back then I was and still till now, I was fortunate enough to like have a beard when I was born. So
for me, one of those guys that had a beard in 7th grade. We hated you guys. I'm kidding.
Especially in the 5th grade, it was uncomfortable.
Oh wow.
But anyhow, yeah, so this helped me get into places that normally wouldn't let me in.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, that was my introduction, was just hanging out with friends and just having a good time watching people dance. But shows, I've seen countless shows at the Attic, and I mean at Club 101 and at E9 also. I saw a lot of great shows at E9, which was cool because we'd go to shows. If there was a show at E9, we'd go around back. There was that back entrance at 101. And I didn't even know that place had an upstairs until I went there the first time. I was like, I had no clue, because you had a bar area upstairs, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but I remember doing a co-headlining show there. Also, I don't know if you remember that, but we did a co-headlining show when I was still, one of my last shows with the Razors, actually. And that was there. Actually, my last show with Pissing Razors was at Club 101. And it was a co-headlining gig with Hatebreed, and that was just a slamming show. It's killer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good double bill. Yeah.
But I've seen, I mean, anyone you can think of, I've seen at Club 101. If not at Club 101, at E9. Yeah. So that place is definitely missed. And, I can't wait to have that again. Is that, I mean, can I ask you, is that happening?
I'm working on something. Yeah. I mean, I get that every day. When are you going to open 101 again? And I'd like to do that. So
yeah,
I got a business plan going. I'm going to talk to some investors. So I
Yeah,
want to do it. And I miss live music.
yeah, you are the heart of that place, and you know, you're like one of those dudes when you walk in, and you were always there. You know what I mean? Your business, that was your business, and you're always there, and it was always cool to see you there because back in the day when I was a lot younger, I didn't know who you were. I was just like, wow, that's the man right there, like you know what I mean? Yeah, that would be awesome to see that again.
Well, you've always been nice to me throughout the years. Every time I run into you, and I've run into you with your kids, my son loves you. He worships. He's always talking about you. So
Man,
you're a big influence on my son.
oh, that's cool, man. That makes me feel good. Just having an influence, a positive influence on people makes me feel good. You know what I mean? We never know when we're going to leave this world, man, and you got to make sure you are there to inspire people and help people. I've learned along the way. I've learned a lot along the way by mistake, and I am who I am today, and I just love to inspire people. And I remember having interactions with your son. He would like kill time, and he would stop at the guitar store when I was working there, and he'd jam out, and I'd hang out with him, and we talk and stuff like that. And it's just awesome to see him. He's a man now. You know what I mean? He's a man.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
Seen him when he was a kid, and he's like a grown man now, so that's pretty cool, man. So good job raising an awesome kid.
Thank you. So you have something new. You have Man the Mute, the new single, Give Him Hell.
Yeah, it's a song called Give Him Hell. It's available on Spotify on the 16th of this month. So it's a passion.
I like it.
Thanks, man. It's a passion project that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's taken me years to kind of figure out exactly what I wanted to do with it. Because I can sing. I've always wanted to actually develop as a vocalist, and now that I've been recording nonstop, and I'm fortunate enough to have a home studio. I record everything on my own. I play everything. I mix everything. The only thing I don't do is master. So I just send that over to a friend of mine. His name is Mayor Applebaum. He's done a lot of the Faith No More albums and countless. He did the Live Yes album. So he's done a lot of really big things. So he took liking to the project, and he's mastering my stuff. But Man the Mute, someone asked me yesterday, why Man the Mute? I'm like, it's because I didn't want to call it like the Cesar Soto project. You know what I mean? Because it's me doing everything. And like I said, it's a passion project. So I figured, hey, that's a cool name, Man the Mute. It's like me by myself. But it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm finally like digging into it. And I'm finally going through with doing what I've just talked about for years, because I finally found my niche, especially vocally. And I have a great respect for vocalists. See, I have had a great respect for vocalists, but now that I'm
doing it,
vocals, it's a different animal, and it is so hard. It's so difficult. It's very difficult to get a good vocal performance, because everything comes into play when you're trying to sing something memorable. For me, like even like a guitar solo should be like a vocal line. A melody to a song should be like a vocal line that people can remember. So I always think of and I always get inspired by Journey. Like when you listen to Neil Schon playing guitar, he has like some of the most simple solos, but they're like vocal lines, because they just get stuck in your head. So so that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm very, very passionate about it, and I'm very focused on doing that. So I'm working on I have a whole batch of tunes that are recorded, but they're not recorded the way I want them recorded. They're recorded as ideas so I don't forget them. So now I'm going back to all those songs, and I'm touching on those songs, re-recording everything and changing stuff that might have changed over the years. And I'm just releasing it. I'm just going for it, because it's like, I just want to share my music with people. I want to share my passion, and I want to share how I feel with people. So that's the first single, is Give 'Em Hell, you know?
And you also have an apparel store online. How's that
Yeah,
going?
it's a couple of t-shirts, man, that are actually doing pretty awesome. A lot of the stuff is sold out right now. I need to reorder stuff, but I'm waiting to, for one, I'm waiting to pick up steam on the Man the Mute stuff, so I can have Man the Mute t-shirts available. And what I eventually want to do is, I it's going to be available digitally, but I want to press, maybe 100 records and make them available at the riffsputin.com. But along with that, I mean, I have maybe about 4 or 5 shirts, and they do well. I mean, they do good. People keep ordering them, and there's like jokes within the shirt that are just funny. To me, they're funny. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're doing well, and people are buying them and stuff. And honestly, the reason I did that is because I was doing research on like e-commerce stores, right? And it was during a very, very hard time during the whole pandemic, when we didn't have work. Like, the 2 professions that I'm in, the bar business and the music business, completely shut down.
Right.
So it's like, you think about, like, what am I going to do? Like, what do I do? And, and there was a bit of worry involved. And I talked to my wife and I said, hey, look, I think I'm going to invest some money in t-shirts and build an e-commerce website to try and get some shirts moving, because I go, we need to figure something out, even if it's for these next couple of months to get us through. We need to figure something out. And that's what I did. And she was on board with it. And of
That's
course,
cool.
else, there's always risk involved with anything. But I think when it comes to your passion, and if you have whether it be t-shirts or music, whatever you're selling, you could sell toothpicks. As long as you have passion for selling those toothpicks, then you're going to do good. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of passion involved, and I put my heart and soul and passion and into that, and it worked. It worked because I'm very, very passionate about it. You know what I mean? I spend a lot of time in this room. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking in this room that I'm in. And when my wife and I bought this house, I gravitated to this room for whatever reason. The first thing I brought in here, it wasn't furniture. I walked in with my acoustic guitar into this house. That was the first thing I moved in. And I sat on the floor in this very room, and I just started playing my guitar, and it just kind of came to me. It was like kind of like I don't know what it is about this room in my house. It brings the best out of me, whether it be music or thinking about t-shirts, whatever it is. This is a room where it's just like it's a constant meditation in this room, right? So all the things that I'm passionate about, like right now, I'm looking at a picture of my dad, you know what I mean, who taught me passion, and he taught me how to be humble, and he taught me to just keep just like that song, keep giving them hell, man. Like, just do it, just do it. Don't think about it, just doing it. But getting back to that, passion and is what drove me to do that, and just keep on moving forward. I have so many. Hey, Joe, I apologize. I start like wandering off, but everything, it comes in one big ball for me.
I think that's why we all love you. I mean, you're very humble, and you're always talking to everybody here in El Paso. And I love when you were on tour. I loved seeing where you were at, and these pictures of you in a stadium. And you know,
Yeah.
thank you for the music, and thanks for all that you do.
No, same to you, man. For me, I think, and I specifically remember the day that my dad taught me what the word humble was. And I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and we're driving around in his Bronco in Central. I remember exactly where we were driving around, and we're coming back from the Dairy Queen on Alabama Street, and we're coming down, and it was a hot summer day, and I had an ice cream cone, and it was melting in the car. And for whatever reason, he said the word humble, and I asked him what it was about. I asked him what that word was, and he told me what humble was. So I learned that word and the meaning to that word when I was about 5 years old. But you know, there's no reason to. Can I cuss on this show?
Absolutely.
All right. There's no reason to be an asshole. You know what I mean? Because at whatever platform you're on and whatever level you're on in life, at some point or another, that's going to be gone. At one point, it's going to be gone. The rug is going to get pulled out from under you at one point or another. You just have to appreciate what you have and live in the moment, because things are not forever. It's great to think sometimes that things are forever, but you could link that up with anything. You know, things are not forever. You know what I mean? We're only on this earth. On this earth, we're only here, housed in our bodies for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you just gotta be yourself, man. There's no reason for people to be assholes, and because it all ends, you know, whether it be your life, whether it be a career, whether it be you being in this huge band, at one point or another, it's going to end. And you just have to live for the moment, man, and just treat people good. That does a lot for not only for yourself and for your soul, but it does a lot for people too. Treating someone good. You don't know when someone's going through a tough time. You don't know when someone's been through a tough time. You don't know, you know, somebody might just need that handshake, or might need that hug, or might need that talk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And get you through another day. Cause it's happened to me where I've been like, wow, you know, I've had a hard day, and, you know, somebody says something and you're like, wow, that's makes me feel good. You know, like I've done something right in life, you know? But I like to share my experiences with people, because like without the support from people, and the constant push, I wouldn't be able to like do what I do now. So I love to share my experiences with people, and people ask me all the time about places and you know, places I've been. You know, what's your favorite food? What do you think about this place or that place? And I tell them and stuff like that. And but for me, I like to share my experiences with people. I think especially, you know, people that have you know, been there from day one. It means a lot to be able to do that for the people, you know.
Yeah. I remember seeing you a couple years back, and I wanted you to move to LA, but you really wanted to stay here in El Paso. I
Yeah.
mean, how did that work out? I mean, you guys
Well,
are still in the band.
you know, luckily, luckily, it's weird. Like, Joe, I can't even tell you everything good that happened at one time. And that is me being able to, you know, be in ministry. All that was, uh, you know, in life, you have, there's, you have a time in your life where everything shifts, whether it be friends, whether it be careers, whatever it is. It's like a life shift happened at that time. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I went through a very, 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 very harsh custody battle. And it all ended the year that I joined the band. It was like, you know, at that point, I had already given up, you know, wanting to be in a band. I was content with writing music from home, recording music from home, because I was just going to this nasty like custody battle that really took everything out of me. Luckily, you know, everything happened at that time. You know, I met my wife while I was going through this whole ordeal. My wife came with two children, you know, two girls that are my girls. I ended up adopting the girls. I ended up getting full 100% custody of my daughter at the time. You know, I ended up getting married at the time, and within months, I ended up, you know, in the band. You know, and right when I was at my breaking point to say, like, why I'm just getting handed like just plates of shit. And I just, like, do I have to eat it too? You know what I mean?
Right.
Something happened, man. Something happened. And I think, with my daughter, I was very, very, very passionate about making sure that she had that. Every kid deserves an awesome life, man, and a shot at life. So that was my focus. And I think like the universe said, you did the right thing, and gifted me a good opportunity that I still have. So
You're a great guy, and you deserve
so,
that. So
so
I'm seeing bands like people here in El Paso are talking about that Rage is going to start touring in 2022. Is that Ministries maybe thinking about touring or?
well, I mean, stuff that I can talk about is that there's already a tour that's announced for October.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and that's the industrial strength tour that Al's been wanting to do. So you can find it on the ministry social media pages, but that tour has been announced for October.
Is that in the States or is that?
Yeah, here in the States, yes. And that runs for about a month from, I believe, I don't quote me on the dates because it's so far out.
No, I
that I
understand.
studied the dates because I have so much going on right now, but it is in October, and I believe it starts around the 1st of October in Albuquerque is the first date. Yeah. Albuquerque at the Sunshine Theater is the very, very first show on the tour.
Oh, that's a great venue. So we need to drive out there.
Yeah.
El Pasoans.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. There's a lot of people from El Paso that are already planning to go because it's the closest place. That's why we need another 101, man. We need all these bands back stopping here. There's no place between San Antonio and Phoenix. So, even when we play San Antonio, the route and the next show is in Phoenix, there's a day off. So it's happened very frequently when we play San Antonio, we have a day off in El Paso. So I get to come home. I get to drop off all the crap that I've accumulated on tour, like t-shirts or posters or like knickknacks that I like to buy. And I just drop them off at home. That way I don't have to, fly back or drive back with a bunch of stuff,
How do you stay looking so good? I mean, the road is hard on people. I mean, I've seen guys put on a lot of weight. I mean,
Well, thanks for the compliment, because right now I'm at my most exhausted state because of I'm not working. I'm working on music at home, and my wife actually, she was like, you need to take a break from that room, because I'm obsessed with these songs that I'm doing right now. I'm like, it's like an addiction, man. It's like I'm obsessed with it, and I cannot stop until I get it right. But for me, it's diet and exercise, sobriety, not drinking. It's just my path. It's just what I wanted to do. There's nothing wrong with any of that if someone chooses to do it, because you drive your own body. But I needed to fire my last driver that was driving my body, and I got a new one. So yeah, I've been, I ride my bike a lot. Actually, I ride my bicycle a lot. Like I put in a lot of miles on my bike. I go to the gym, not to get, built or anything like that, but I like to, do,
exercise.
and cardio is my thing, and drinking a lot of water, eating the right things. And, it's kind of funny because I'm in the bar business, and I've been in the bar business for a long, long time. And luckily and thankfully enough, I've been able to make a living doing that. And it's amazing. I've been able to give my family an amazing life just doing that alone, which is, I couldn't be happier in my life. But the funny thing is I work in that business, but I don't drink. I don't drink. It's not my thing anymore. I got that out of my system in my teens, 20s, and 30s. So, I'm just about taking care of myself, and I want to be able to accomplish as much as I can in this short time that we're here. And before that, I want to be able to see my children grow, and I want to see what they're going to accomplish when they get older. And I want to see their careers and all that. I mean, I have a grandchild now, you know what I mean? So my 20-year-old has a baby. I'm a grandfather, and I just can't wait to see what my girls are going to do, man. So that's why I need to stay healthy, because, you know, the one thing that would break my heart is if I left this earth is not seeing what my children are able to accomplish, you know? So I you know, that's my driving force, is to make sure I stay healthy, to see them like do the best that they can, you know?
So you're going to tour. You guys have practice via Zoom or something like that, or do you have to go
no,
out to
no.
LA at some
When we
point?
usually, you know, when rehearsals are in LA, not all of us live in Los Angeles. We're scattered everywhere. But when we rehearse, we all meet in Los Angeles, and we rehearse for a good 2-3 weeks, and every single day with maybe a day off during the week. And then we start a tour. You know, we hop on a tour bus at the rehearsal spot. They load the gear, get on, and we drive to the first gig. And yeah, so that's how things work. You know, being in the band has taught me how to be a perfectionist at your craft. I remember Al telling me years ago when I joined the band, he said, you're a good guitar player, but he goes, being in this band is going to make you a better musician. And, you know, when someone says that to you, you don't know what to expect. And, you know, it's taught me to be a perfectionist. Like watching him work and watching him put together a live show is very, very impressive, man. It's like an artist it's like an artist painting on canvas, but, you know, he's layering his works and he wants it heard the way it should be heard. And some, you know, rehearsals can take upwards from 10 to 12 hours a day sometimes. But it's taught me to be a perfectionist, and I use what he's taught me in a rehearsal room and how he builds a tour, a live show. I use that approach on everything I do in my life now. So I really appreciate him for that, and I'm glad that he came into my life. You know, not only for band's sake and work, but outside of that, I mean, he's a very, very, very intelligent man. He's a very, very smart man, and he knows everything that he talks about. He knows because he studies, and he's a brain, man. He is a wizard at his craft, and yeah. So that's going back to rehearsals. That's what we do. We meet in Los Angeles and have very tedious rehearsals that make you a perfectionist, and when we hop on a tour and we give people the you know, show that people deserve to see. So that's how we do it.
Well, is there anything you want to, you know, my son said that he said he saw you on a documentary on HBO that was about El
Yeah,
Paso. Was that a cameo, or was that,
no, actually,
or if you want to talk about it, but
yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, man.
yeah.
Yeah, it's and people started sending me messages on social media, and they were telling me, dude, they go, do you know you're on a documentary on HBO right now? And I thought it was a joke. So I started getting the messages and the picture over and over again. And it was when that shooting happened, that mass shooting at Walmart.
Yeah.
Like
Were you
whoever,
there? Were you there?
no,
Okay.
I wasn't there. But
Okay.
that's what another thing I need to clear up. I wasn't there, but you, as well as I know, being a diehard El Pasoan, and, you know, as a person, you just think like something so shitty and so tragic and so heartbreaking would never happen in your hometown.
Never. Yeah, it was horrible.
One of my youngest daughters, we have two daughters that are very close in age, and um, we're gonna celebrate her. That happened coming on 2 years, right? So
Right.
we're celebrating her 8th birthday. She was about to turn 8 years old, or she turned 8 years old on that day, on that very day,
Wow.
August 3rd. It, we were leaving the house to go to my mother-in-law's and my father-in-law's, which you know them. You know my mother-in-law, father-in-law. They went to Eastwood High School, but we were going to their house to celebrate her birthdays. That's where we celebrate all the kids' birthdays, and we're leaving the house, and my wife told me, "Hey, there's reports of a shooter at the Walmart at Cielo Vista," and and a person. She said there's reports of a person with a gun, and then she started giving me like more details. She's like, "It's a shooter, and he's like shooting." So that whole day was just like, unfortunately, it happened on my daughter's birthday, and that just like just kills you inside just to
Right.
think happened at your hometown. And then what kills you more is just the fact that the reason behind it is just pretty disgusting. Just to think that somebody would want to hurt and kill people intentionally like that. And it happened on my daughter's birthday. So the next day, I I was very heartbroken. I was, I was crying in my car, and that day, because it was heartbreaking. I couldn't believe that so many people were hurt, and so many people were waiting outside of that place for because their loved ones weren't answering their phones, or they haven't heard from a loved one. Like, how heartbreaking could that be? That tears you apart, right?
Right.
So if it tears you apart, and you didn't lose anyone, and imagine having to deal with that, and a loved one, it's just I can't even wrap my head around that. I picked my oldest daughter up from her house to come over to our house, and I said, I think we need to get some flowers and leave them there, because this is something that we'll never forget. And I took her there, and she broke down, and I gave her a hug, and someone took a picture, and it ended up on like CNN and all these networks or whatever. But that's definitely a reason I didn't want to be in a documentary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because uh it how do I put this? It just captured that image says a lot, you know?
Yeah. No, I went to that wall or that by Walmart, and just
Yeah,
the flowers, the pictures is overwhelming. And
yeah.
we love this community. I mean, there was somebody from Juarez that was shot and killed. I mean,
Many.
we're so interconnected. I mean, I just went to Juarez last week with my
Yeah.
son. I mean, it, I'm sure you've gone to shows in Juarez, or
Oh
maybe you
yeah.
played over there. So,
Man,
people don't.
Juarez.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. I mean, I think a lot of people don't. I just love this area, this, El Paso Juarez connection.
Yeah, it's a connection, man. And it's you know, uh I've been going to Juarez. I haven't gone in a while, but I remember spending a lot of my childhood there, whether it were my mom going down there to get her hair done, or my dad taking us to the mercado, or to just to different restaurants to go eat, or fast forward into my teenage years, going over there to have your first drink.
Right.
uh the clubs, you know what I mean? There's a connection there, and it's a connect. Like they say, it's the sister city. You know what I mean? And that's another reason I'm proud to be from here, is we're interconnected with another country, and
Absolutely.
uh, and uh, and there's just a lot of love for. There's just a lot of love for our sister city and our sister country, that is, culture. One thing that I love about places, and that I love about the traveling to other countries, is my growing up here, my understanding of culture and understanding where you come from and what you're about. You know, one of my grandmothers was from Juarez, and my two other grandparents were from Chihuahua. You know what I mean? So those are places where we come from. You know what I mean? And my parents are first generation, you know, born first generation Americans here, you know, in on this soil in El Paso. You know, so I have a great understanding and a great love for where we come from, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's, like I said, that's why I love traveling to other countries, is you experience cultures that you would have never experienced if you didn't come here to El Paso or a border town or traveled overseas somewhere. You know, so when someone comes here, you know, what's funny is what's not funny, what's actually really kick-ass is that obviously this city is built around a military base, which is Fort Bliss, that's been here for well over 100 years, right?
Right.
What's really cool is that, you know, being in the bar industry, you see a lot of new soldiers that have never been to El Paso. And the first thing I ask them is, well, how do you like El Paso? Because there's, you know, a lot of people don't like it. And, and a lot of people do. But there's been people that I've asked, like, you know, that have come into the bar for the first time, and I make sure that I make them feel welcome, because it's very important to display what an El Pasoan is all about, and how genuine people are from here, and how welcoming and warm people are from here. That's one thing that's awesome about being from here. You know when someone's from here. But one thing I ask them is, well, how do you like it so far? And a majority of the people will be like, you know, I can't wait to leave. And then they become regulars, you know, and then 3 or 4 years later, they're about it. Oh, and they love it. They're buying a house here. They're speaking Spanish.
I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, I think that says a lot. You know what I mean? You just have to give this place a chance, because it's a very special place, man. Like, this soil is very special in this city. There's peace that I find here. And anytime I'm on tour, coming home is just such a peaceful thing. You know, I love Los Angeles too. You know, I spend so much time there that it is like my second home. You know, when you start driving around that place and you don't need your GPS anymore, that means it's your second home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my second home too. But, you know, my first home will always be here. You know, I'd hate to put things so morbidly, but if I ever, you know, move on from this earth in another city, I'm always coming back here. You know what I mean? Whether, you know, I'm buried here or cremated here, it's going to happen.
That's great. You know? So, so people should check out your social media sites. You're on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at C Soto Ministry. You could find me on Facebook under Cesar Soto Ministry. It's like the Facebook / and then Cesar Soto Ministry on Facebook, C Soto Ministry on Instagram. And that's how you can find me, man.
And then, of course, the website again. You want to give that address out for the
for the shirt. It's riffsputin.com. It's kind of like Rasputin, but riff, like guitar riffs, RIFFSPUTIN, riffsputin.com.
Well, I want to thank you for making some time. I know you're in your man cave, right? Your
music. Yeah. It's my own like makeshift little studio. I have my guitars, my guitar amps, you know, I'll just show you everything that I have to work with. You know, everything that I need is at like a hand's reach. My vocal stuff, my vocal booth here. But yeah, it's my man cave. So it's my man cave where I create, and I never leave this room.
So the single's out, and you're going to put out some vinyl. You'll let us know.
the single's out, and I thought about the vinyl thing a few days ago, and I definitely I am going to do the vinyl thing. The single will be out on the 16th. It's called Give 'Em Hell. I'm releasing it on my own. It's going to be on all digital platforms. It's being distributed through DistroKid. So it'll be out next Friday, or actually on Friday the 16th. It's the first single. It's called Give 'Em Hell. And every month and a half, you should expect to see a new single after that. I'm doing a video for Give 'Em Hell next month. I'm going to Los Angeles, going to do a video, and I'm going to release it. That way I can push this project as much as I could push it. That way I could continue doing it. So that's my passion right now. I don't plan to stop that. That and ministry are my only things that I am focusing on, and that's it.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and taking some of your time. You're
Anytime, Joe. Anytime for you, man. I'll give up my hands for you, bro.
oh man, that's me to you. I love you, man.
Yeah.
You're the
Hey,
best.
let me tell you one thing is usually when I do like stuff like this, like interviews and stuff like that, it's you have to find a connection with someone. And I can tell you that any interview that I've ever done, I'm telling you the truth, any interview that I've ever done, this has been the best and most personal interview, because it's just like talking right in front of you, man. So thank you for bringing that out of me, because it's not easy for people to bring the true you out of it's not easy for someone to bring the real person out, and you bring that out of me, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. And
All right.
I look forward to the music, and man, I got to go to Albuquerque and see that show.
Yeah, you just let me know. I'd love to see you there.
All right. Well, you take care, and let's stay in touch. I hope to see
Uh,
you when you're in El Paso.
All right, Joe. Thank you very much. And I love you, man. I love you
I
for
love
everything.
you, man.
And I love you for the person that you are. So thank you.
Thank you. Want to thank everyone for tuning into the Joe Dorgan show with Cesar Soto. God, I love that guy. He's such a cool guy. That's humble. Humble 101. Love that guy. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.